In 2001, I visited Uganda. I was researching the influence and importance of traditional performance in Ugandan society. My research concentrated on the influence of traditional performers in Uganda, and my focus was in particular on socially vulnerable groups with no obvious access to classroom education. During several months, I drove around the country by motorbike, meeting as many people as possible to listen to their stories on how traditional performance influences their lives and, by their opinion, the Ugandan society at large. Dr. Ngare, professor at Makerere University Performing Arts Department, is an expert on Ugandan folklore. She shared her views with me.
That is a problem we are having at the moment, because everybody now is putting emphasis on classroom education. Yeah. And with classroom education, it is not bad because it is going to help us compete with the rest of the world. But there is a lot of sense and value, the negative aspects of our culture side, which we are missing from these children not listening to our stories as they were, these children not telling the stories themselves, these children not engaging in riddles, because that one sharpens your reasoning and your argument, and you have to see how to get out of the situation. Those stories, doing the games we used to do, because there is no longer any time.
This was one of my first interviews, and left me with the impression that traditional Ugandan culture and performances were not being used as educational source or part of daily life in contemporary Ugandan society. In the months to follow, I would discover that there was a counter-movement taking place, and I encountered many experiences that would make this view evolve. In Jinja, at a traditional gathering to call spirits, many people came together for the social aspect and for the entertainment of watching youngsters dancing and playing music. Driving around, I discovered many places in the country had dance and performance troupes. Herbert, the director of theatre group Hope in Mbale district, explained the importance and what educational and social role these troupes have.
Hope Theatre Artists is a performing group of younger children. These children are mainly orphans and needy ones who have come together to perform theatre in order to get educational requirements, accommodation, and feeding. This group was started in 1997. 1998, not 97, 98. After realizing that there are so many children who cannot go to school because they are orphans, and who don't have accommodation, who don't do like feeding because they are needy. So we brought them together and trained them theatre so that they can perform theatre to earn a living.
Throughout my research, the explosive growth of dance and theatre groups became clear, functioning as a vehicle to bring back together a torn society and to re-educate younger generations on their norms and social values. The importance of traditional performance as educational tool and beyond became very visible. I joined a national TV station on one of their visits.
Just in case people are wondering exactly where I am, well, I'll have to tell you one thing for sure. I am in Sembabule district. I'm talking about a place that's 115 miles away from Kampala. Well, if you all remember well, this is a place that was decentralized from Masaka district back in 1980. Now it's all a district of its own. Well, it has a population of 206,000 people. And what's more unique is you'll have to meet some of those 206,000 today in a group known as Heklosk. Okay, well, why don't I get out of here and show you guys exactly what I mean. Okay, well, people, I'd like to ask you one question. What is this Heklosk club about? What is it about?
It's about drama, music,
And dance. Wow, did you guys practice this? I mean, how come you guys are like speaking the same thing at the same time? Well, music, drama, and... Okay. Okay, well, and dance, okay, so that people can dance, they can sing, and of course they can act. So you people have to tell me one thing. This is quite a weird name, HECLOSC. What does it stand for?
Health Education Center.
Hey, Health Club of St. So wait, this is the school, right? Health Club of St. So well, by having health in the word alone means that you guys have something healthy about you guys. What is all this health thing about? What? Someone explain to us.
It educates the public about their health
Okay.
and to keep their hygiene.
After the interview, the group performed and their songs present a topic with a tremendous social relevance, such as hygiene, education, and AIDS. With the rhythms and wise words from the children in Sembabule district still humming, I headed to the northern part of Uganda, near the borders of South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. This part of Uganda is still restless due to the presence of the Lord Resistance Army. Throughout the years, the army has been notorious for their violence, the abduction and abuse of thousands of children, and their training and use of child soldiers. Many aid organizations are trying to contribute to the demilitarization, demobilization, and rehabilitation of the area. Several centers care over former child soldiers and abducted children and support them in their transition back into society. Prior to visiting one of these centers, I was able to meet women's organization Akamkwene. This group was founded by independent women who were able to build a living of their own by selling grains, beans, and flour.
It's called a Akamkwene Women Group.
Yes.
Yes.
Which means?
It means when we came in Gulu, we had nowhere to go. We were stranded. Now we asked ourselves, where should we go? Where should we go?
Dancing and performing is an important social aspect for them.
We zijn hier in de graanschuur waar elke week geoefend wordt. En de dames waren zo enthousiast dat ze minimaal 1 dansje willen opvoeren.
Miles from the market, World Vision has its rehabilitation centre. I spoke with children currently under their care. Pamela just recently escaped from the LRA, carrying her 1.5-year-old son on her back through the jungle for several days. She was abducted as a young girl and after being captivated and abused for over 3 years was able to make it to Gulu. World Vision currently helps her to recover from the trauma of her abduction.
Okay, what comes back maybe in memory is the sight of murder. How others have been murdered mercilessly. And how others have been, were severely tortured.
Like Pamela and many other children told me, dance, music and artist performances are for her a way to learn and a way to grow again.
Because that is a sign of it is even a sign of freedom.
At the National Museum of Uganda, I met Peter Bizasu, the conservator. He has a very clear view on the significance of traditional performers and music in Uganda. For instance, the importance it has in educating a younger generation on equality. One example of cultural change he gave me was the acceptance nowadays for women to play the drums.
Now it is just the education. The more people are being aware, it seems that there is nothing wrong with somebody playing certain instrument, unless it is the function that is supposed to be there that women are not going to do this. But now they can play all those instruments in primary schools, in secondary schools, and even the teachers who have to continue educating other people, making them to learn more about our traditional instruments. So that's why you find that the teacher, if she's a teacher, she has to demonstrate.
Looking at influence and social relevance, I asked him what he considered was the most significant educational source for a community to rebuild and for them to become resilient.
Have either to have one or two, but now it is a mixture of both. We pick the best from this side and pick the best from the other side so that we can achieve all what we can.
Combining educational resources to achieve what is in our best ability. A sum up of what I learned from listening and trying to understand all the stories and wide range of views. It makes me conclude that a society needs both. Roots grounded in traditions, norms and social values of the past, and new branches like a tree reaching out to a higher purpose in life, enabling a society to continue to grow and leave a vital legacy for generations to come.